Welcome to another video of Style of Play with myself, T Dot. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Now, before we get into the content, as always, as I say on these videos, please go and subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. We've just done our Cristiano Ronaldo video before the interview comes out. We're going to do another one after the interviews come out, so it'll probably be Friday. But if you haven't done so already, go and check that out. Let me know your thoughts on the Cristiano Ronaldo saga that's happening at the moment. Is he right for doing the interview? Is he wrong for doing the interview? Let me know your thoughts. But we're going to switch it to the World Cup, which starts this Sunday. The Premier League and all other domestic leagues across Europe have been paused, and now we are final straight, home straight to get the World Cup kicked off on Sunday. Qatar versus Ecuador is the first game on Sunday. I think it's at 4 p.m. UK time. So it's one of those things. I mean, yeah, I wasn't really looking forward to the World Cup, before maybe a couple of the squads were announced, but now obviously it's here. It's one of those where, yeah, we've got to get on board with it. And obviously there's a lot of political issues around this World Cup as well. But if we're going to be 100% honest, and I'm going to be doing that myself, I'm still watching the World Cup. It's the World Cup. You could have it anywhere. I'm still watching the World Cup. So, yeah, I get that there's a lot of political issues around it, but ask yourself this: if you don't want to watch it, or you don't want to be involved in the World Cup, you don't have to be involved in the World Cup. So I'm going to be reviewing every group, so from Group A all the way through to Group H over the next couple of days or so. Some days I might do two groups in one day, but today we're just going to focus on Group A, which will have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. So it's actually a relatively difficult group to to probably get out of for some of those clubs. I mean, obviously you look at the clubs, the country, sorry, not clubs, still got club football on the brain. But let me get the groups up for you now. So yeah, as I said, we'll run through all of them. So today we're going to be looking at Group A, which is, as I said, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. Group B contains England, Iran, USA, Wales. We've got Group C, which we'll also be previewing tomorrow. Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Group D, which features France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. We have Group E, which focuses on Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Group F, which will have Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. Now, this is the one that I'm looking forward to as well, because I think it'll be a really good one. So we've got Group G, which is Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon. And finally, we have Group H, which is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. So that is going to be what we're going to be covering over the next couple of days. As I said, some days we might do two groups. I think today we're just going to focus on Group A, which will then take us over. Tuesday will be England's group, which is Group B, Argentina's group, which is Group C. Then Wednesday it will be France. Thursday will be Spain's group, which is Group E. Belgium will be Group F. And then Friday, we'll be covering Group G and H, which is Brazil's group, and H is Portugal's group. So as I said, today we're just going to focus on Group A, and we're going to look at some of the squads. We're going to look at, I mean, I've already got my overall predictions. Actually, let me do that before we do anything else. I've got my overall predictions. If you're a betting person, then, and you're looking for some bets, then go for these ones that I'm potentially going to do myself. So I've gone for groups to get out of. Let me get my phone because I've wrote these down from before. So to top the group, I've gone for Croatia. So Croatia, you'll find them in Group F. I think they can top that group, and we'll get onto that later in the week. But that's my first to top the group. So I've gone for Croatia. I've also gone for Germany. So you can find them again in Group E. I think they'll get out of that group, and I think they can easily top it. And I've gone for Group H, Portugal, to top their group as well. Now, if you do that as a treble, you'll get around 10-1 odds for that. So I've gone Croatia, Germany, and Portugal to top their groups in a treble. Obviously, with any betting that I ever give to anyone, make sure you gamble responsibly and make sure that you gamble what you can afford to gamble. Don't gamble any more than you can't afford. But that to me sounds like a good treble. Croatia, Germany, and Portugal to top their groups. you look at maybe the Group E with Spain in there, but I think Germany will just, I mean, we'll get onto their squad later in the week, but I think they've got a really good squad going into this World Cup. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. Portugal, I mean, that should be a given. I mean, Uruguay is a really difficult one to predict. And I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of their qualifications into this World Cup, so I don't know how they did. I think Ghana will be a dark horse. I think they could throw a spanner in the works as well, but I do think Portugal should be topping Group H. And yeah, I mean, that my outrights to win. Now this is where it gets a bit sticky. I've gone for Germany and Brazil as the two to make it to the final. So either of them, I think some betting companies will offer each way bets as well. I've gone for both of them to either win the World Cup. So Germany, I think, is 10-1 at the moment, and Brazil are 4-1 to win the whole tournament. And I think they could go ahead and do that. Both of those teams, the countries can do that 100%. My top goal scorers I've gone for is Neymar and Benzema. So I haven't got the odds for that here, but if you just go on Paddy Power or another betting company, they'll be able to give you some decent odds. And I think they do some, I think Paddy Power are doing, if you're a player that you choose to be golden boot winner, if you get a shot on target or scores, you get free bets throughout the tournament. So it's worth looking into. As I said before, make sure you only bet what you can afford. Don't bet any more than you can. Keep it fun during the World Cup. Let's not try and do too much betting over the next couple of weeks. But let me get into some of the groups, because obviously today we're talking about Group A, and obviously Qatar are in that group. They're host nations. Don't know much about their squads. I'm going to be completely 1,000,000% honest. I don't know anything about Qatar. It'll be interesting to see how they play. Obviously home nations, previous tournaments have given home nations a slight advantage to an extent, but I think we have to be honest. I mean, if anyone in the chat, anyone who watches this video, if you know anything about the Qatar squad, let me know, because I don't. But you tend to see that the host nations tend to do okay. I mean, they tend to have the home backing of the crowd on their side as well. They should potentially, a lot of them, if they play locally, might be used to the difference in climate for some of these other players who play across in Europe and further afield as well. So I don't know much about Qatar. I don't really want to mention too much about them, but the two teams that I do want to focus on, obviously we haven't got Ecuador's team to go on, but I do think Senegal have got a really good squad, and I watched them during the African Cup of Nations. Obviously they got to the final and won that, and that was all down to Mo Salah losing on the final as well. But they do have a relatively good squad. I mean, you look at the goalkeepers, you look, obviously Mendy would be their first choice. They have Diallo, they have Koyate, they have Cisse, they've got Koulibaly in that defense there as well. Sarr, another one in defense. So they've got a relatively good back line. They look like they're going to be quite solid. You look at Idrissa Gueye as well, midfield, and Daye, Sarr again, and Guy as well. They're midfields. I mean, they're a squad that can cause teams problems, I think. And as I say, I watched them in the African Cup of Nations, and they were actually really good. So I was impressed with how they played, how they adapt to that in the World Cup. It's totally different kettle of fish when they're playing against some of the more better players across the footballing world. But I do think they've got something about them, Ismaila Sarr in the forward positions as well. Another Diallo, who's another good player for them, and obviously Sadio Mane in there as well. I look at Senegal and I do think they might have something to prove at this World Cup. And if you look at the other two teams, obviously Ecuador's a really good team as well. I don't want to just bypass them, but we will potentially look at them on Twitter. So we might do a bit of a breakdown of them on Twitter. So if you haven't followed Twitter account, hit the link in the description to Twitter and it will take you there, and we will do a follow-up on Ecuador. But the Netherlands is another team that I used to follow quite a lot, especially during qualification times and more recently in the Nations League and things like that. But I just look at the team, and very much like the Belgian team as well, I feel like their opportunity to win something has passed now. Yes, they've got Virgil van Dijk, they've got Nathan Ake, they've got Daily Blind, Dumfries is in there as well, Delete, Malacia, who's had a really good season for United, and Frimpong. So they've got a really good squad in terms of defense. And you look at it on paper and you think, yes, good squad. Frankie de Jong, Steven Bergwijn as well, Davy Klaassen, another good player for them. Depay up front, Bergwijn as well. So I do look at the squad. Luke De Jong as well, Weghorst, who actually I think played in the Premier League, didn't he, recently? I think it was for Burnley. I think was it? I think or Newcastle, one of the two. But they've got a good squad. But I just think their time to do something in a World Cup potentially is gone. And passed them by. I do think that they've had multiple opportunities to do well. But I do look at Senegal, and I think Senegal could be the ones that get out that group. I really do. I think Senegal is one of those teams that will potentially cause an upset in that group there. I think they could easily beat Qatar. Again, that's no disrespect to Qatar at all. I think that their opening game against the Netherlands, the 21st of November, 4 o'clock kickoff, I think that's going to be a really difficult game for them. If they can get 3 points out against Netherlands, you do look at those other two games against Qatar and Ecuador, they could get something. You don't need to win all your group games to get out of the group. I think that's another thing we should mention. If you play well, you start well. If you can, even if you can get a point against the Netherlands and go on to win against Qatar and Ecuador, they stand every chance. There's obviously a question mark around Sadio Mane, who picked up an injury just before in his final game, I think, for Bayern Munich. It looked like an injury that was going to keep him out of the squad altogether for the World Cup, but he seems to have gone over. Whether he's fit enough to play, I think back to the days when David Beckham wasn't fully fit, when Wayne Rooney injured himself and wasn't fit. I think he broke a metatarsal in his foot. He wasn't fit. You think back to, I think before that, I think there was a World Cup where Ronaldo wasn't 100% fit as well. And I mean, the real Ronaldo, R9, he wasn't fully fit to play. So you do have to question, is Sadio Mane fully fit to go to the World Cup? Potentially not. But I think if we can see some signs of him, even if he can maybe nurse him through the group stages and hopefully get him recovered for the knockouts, if they make it that far, I think they stand every chance. I think Senegal is a team potentially that will get overlooked in the tournament because of the fact that they aren't really, world beaters. You don't really think of them as a world-beating team. But some of the names I've just reeled off there, Mendy, who hasn't had the best of form, hasn't played much football for Chelsea, but he has played well. He played well in the African Cup of Nations. He played really well last season for Chelsea as well. So I think he's got something to prove, maybe more so to Chelsea as well. And obviously, you go away, play for your country, you tend to play slightly better. The pride of playing in the World Cup for some of these players as well, for some of them for the first time, there's a lot to prove for them. But I do think Senegal, in my opinion, potentially will top the group. I think it will be between Netherlands and Senegal, but I just feel Senegal going forward, if not top, they definitely go through. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see that how that pans out. But let me know, anyone who's got any sort of Qatar experience in terms of the team. Really interesting to see out of those players who is or who could potentially be a problem in that group. As I said, I don't really know much about any of them, if anything. So it'd be good if I can get someone who's heavily, familiar with watching some of these players that are going to be representing Qatar, what they can do, what they bring to the World Cup. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the World Cup now. Hopefully everyone else is. As I said, these are going to be very, very short videos. They're not going to be very long. Hopefully we're going to do our very first watch long, which I'm hoping will be next Monday for the England game. I'm hoping I can get that done. I hope we get it sorted. So if we can, we're going to be doing a watch long for that one. Also as well, these bite-sized videos are going to be coming out every single day across the next couple of days. We'll try and do a quick mop-up of the night before, the night before's matches the day after for the World Cup as well. So there's going to be a lot of World Cup content coming over the next couple of weeks or so. As I said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, please, because it helps the algorithms. It helps us get seen by a lot more people. And obviously, like, the World Cup is going to be, it's going to be where we're going to be for the next couple of weeks. So if you're into the World Cup, you want to hear some World Cup comments and talk about the World Cup, get involved, get joined in. We're going to be doing it right here. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, till tomorrow, not next time, till tomorrow, we'll be back. We'll be looking at Group B, of course, very important group for us, and Group C as well. But thank you very much for watching. Hit that notification button and the like button, and let me know your thoughts in the comments about who you think will qualify out of Group A. Until tomorrow, I'll be back. Then speak soon. Thanks.